So I just want to create some grass on this terrain. So it's a simple plane. The scene which I've got has got very non-uniform faces. That means some faces are small and some faces are big. So I've taken it to ZBrush, and here the model was like this. So this model has got very high concentration of polygons here, high resolution geometry here, and then it was reduced, and then I can use a different resolution here. So I just took this tool called Z Remeasure and then just applied this Z Remeasure tool, and I got this geometry, and I've placed this scene here like that. So I want a uniformly spaced subdivision. Now what I really want is I want to create a strand of grass blades cluster, and I want to scatter it on the total ground here so that I'll get the grassland here. Okay, you can also just check the UVs of this. So I don't see any UVs for this model. So I choose the UV planar mapping, y-axis, and then project. And I just keep this slightly within the space like that. So the idea is to create grass here. Before that, I need to get some value map where I can put um, the grass density in check. So what I do is, firstly, I'll use the mesh network here to create the grass on the terrain, and then I use certain maps so that I can control the density here and there. Firstly, we will assign a AI standard surface shader, and then let's name this as ground shader. And in the color section, I will choose a 2D texture. I'll be using a fractal texture here. And this model, I will apply soften edge because it has got some faceted polygons there. So I will select the house. I'll open outliner, house, tree, windmill. I'll hide everything here like that. And then I would like to render this. Okay. And probably we'll concentrate on this area, and we procedurally generate a ground there. So select this ground plane, and here I'll just get into the FX section and use color remap. Okay, so I'll just first click it here, and then it will create a ramp. So I'll take a red color in the black and a green color in the white area, and then re-render it. Now you see the blacks are replaced with the red and the whites are replaced with the green. So this will allow me to get this variation. So I change the color here, and I take a very similar color but little bit light and dark. I don't want this ground to be shiny, so I will reduce the specular weight, put it to 0. I could assign bump map, but there is no possible use of it. I mean, it doesn't really work. So I'll just go to the remap section and try to find out the fractal texture and repeat this certain times so that I can get the size of this details into a right scale. So in this particular color, still we can add more textures if we want, but again I'm okay with what I have got right now. Now once I've got this, I will apply grass on top of it and get the result. So what I will do is I will just get into the perspective view, but before that, the perspective one which I have created, I should lock it so that I avoid some navigation accidentally. So I will bring back this geometry and I will assign a shader. I'll be assigning Maya's Lambert shader just only to paint a value map for this. For that, I'll go to the rendering section, and here I'll be choosing in texturing 3D paint tool. So I'll assign a map here. So I choose this assign and edit texture. I'm choosing a very low resolution image, 1024 by 1024, and I'm assigning it. And we have the color and flood options. In the color option, if I just choose green and then flood, the total model gets the green color. So I want grass throughout the plane. So I'll take a white color here and then flood paint. And I don't want any grass around the house, and I'm just painting that around the house. And I just want that to be like that. Maybe I can just apply smooth to just fade out that effect. Like that. So I'll just frame this to the camera and see whether I've got a nice spread of color there, because I just don't want them to be in this areas. So once I've done that, I just click save textures, and the texture should be saved in the project directory. So the next thing I would like to do here is create grass blade. So I'll use get brush paint effects brush here, and I will choose the grass clump and then just click and drag that. So I get this grass blades. I can just adjust certain things about it. So I'll go to the tubes, creation. We have the width scale, which I can control. And we can also increase the tube width. And I can add number of grass petals there, like that. So once I've got the strands there, I can go to the modify, convert, and use paint effects to polygons. And I want this to be in quad output, and then I convert this. So I will delete the history of this model, and I choose ungroup and delete the grass strokes as well, and I'll assign AI standard surface shader and just put grass here. So this grass, just check that it has the freeze transformation. Now what I will do is I will use mesh network here to create the grass. So I go to the mesh here, create mesh network, and then whatever is there, just leave it like that, default, and then just create it. So what that will do is it will create 10 different strands here. I mean, it will distribute in that way. So don't really worry about it. Go to the attribute editor, and in distribute section, okay, we have mesh option here. So choose the mesh, and in the mesh section, okay, firstly I need to see which is the model I've got here. So this is ground geometry. I'll just duplicate and keep one additional down there and hide it. So I select the mesh network and then drag this into the input mesh section, and I will assign the ground shader to this, and you should see the grass here on the ground and scattered in small clumps here and there. So I just select the scatter and put this to 500. So I got more number of clusters of grass there all around. So I'm setting this to UV space so that the UVs has to be considered there. So I'll just go to the strength option, and here we got the strength map. So I'll open Hypershade, and drop this file node into the strength. Okay, and there is a map helper. In that I will put this ground 0, which have been duplicated there. Now if you see, when I add the count to 2500 or so, you get a lot of grass strands, but you don't get the grass around where I've painted it black. So if I just set to the perspective, and you get all these things there. So I just select the model. There is some problem here. Um, so it is spreading from there. It doesn't really create a problem, but we will see if we have a fix for this. Okay, the position when I switched it off, it worked for me. Okay, after once I've got the grass placed nicely, I would use another network, another node here, which is a random node. So I'm using the random node here. So that is used to randomize the size of the, okay, here it is, sorry. So I switch on uniform scale and randomize the scale of all these clusters of the grass. So I'm getting a smaller one and a bigger one. I don't want the position. Position is randomizing the position from the ground. So I just want a random sized grass. So I'll put a 0.1, 0.1 and 0.1. A very subtle variation. And I'll take a random 360 for the grass. Or you can put it just 90 and leave like that. So if I select the grass mean and if I scale this to 0.2, I get a smaller one. Okay, I can scale the previous grass which I have created. So I just want it to be a little bit smaller. So I just choose the mesh network and in distribute I'll put it to 3500 or so. So I just select the subsurface color and put the subsurface to 0.5 or maybe 1 in fact, and in the radius I'll put it a green, and in the subsurface color I'll take a ramp and I'll take 1. I'll put the scale to 0.1. I'm reducing the grass size here, and in the mesh network I will increase the density to 6000. I just want more grass there. obviously it will end up in more denser grass. While I save this, I switch this to bounding box and then save this scene.